Hi, everybody. We're slowly letting people trickle in, so bear with us for a minute or two. Lori and Leah, you guys are going to help me admit people, or should I try to do that as well?
We can work with the chat as well as admitting people.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Today we're going to slowly let people jump in. Oh, thank you, Leah, for that. Perfect. Awesome. Leah just dropped the home base document for everybody. And then Thomas said, "Hi, everyone. I'm camera off for a quick second to eat. Excited to be there." Welcome, Thomas. All right. Okay, let's get started. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. I do want to let everyone know that we are recording this webinar today to share with individuals who express interest in attending but were unable to join us today. And Open Access will also be posting this video on our website. Okay, so welcome everybody to our Inclusive Learning Circle series, fostering synergy between UDL, AT, and AAC. And today's topic is going to be on assistive technology. If you follow the QR code and the tiny URL link, it'll take you to our rolling home base document where you can find a link to our slides and all of the resources we will be talking about today. So for those that are new, I'm going to do like a quick introduction of who Open Access is. And if you already know who we are, take a minute to go grab a coffee. Open Access is one of the statewide special education resource lead within the statewide system of support. And we are grounded in the foundational belief that with access to quality instruction, all students can engage, actively participate, and learn with inclusive settings. And what makes our project really unique is that we highlight the importance of learning and participation for all through universal design for learning, assistive technology, and augmentative and alternative communication. So please feel free to bookmark our website to access free universal resources for educators and administrators, all designed to kind of support the implementation of UDL, AT, and AAC. And if you want to even dive deeper, we have a one-pager that details our three-tier approach to assisting LEAs and SELPAs statewide. The link is also in our home base document. Okay, we always say this, but we are a small but mighty team. Troy Tickle is the executive leader of the project. Leah Padilla and Lori Balsano Wright are the coordinators, and they're on the call with us today. And Emily Desjardins, Jennifer Wright, and myself, Mimi Zimlik, we are the content leads, and they are also on the call today. And we have our wonderful admin support, Melody Purdy. So here at Open Access, we're really committed to UDL principles and making our presentation as accessible as possible. Some of the strategies we'll be using include simple background with high contrast text. And if this was an in-person event, we would provide printed materials along with digital materials. You can access our slide deck using the tiny URL or QR code. We provide alt text for all images, and we try to share multiple examples and non-examples of topics and concepts. And we try to provide various options for participation and feedback. And the closed captioning is accessible if you want to turn that on for yourself as well. Should do a quick mention of that. Okay. So here is kind of some resource for you to keep in mind. We have our open access website that you can explore more tools and professional learning opportunities to support accessible and inclusive education. And then our QR code, the home-based QR code, like I mentioned earlier, is right here. You can click on the link or scan, and it'll have all of our slide links and additional resources. Okay, so I want to I want to welcome everybody here today. This is exciting to have so many different participants today. And I also want to introduce the amazing presenters joining us on today. And they'll kind of probably give a quick wave. We have Devin Vale. She's the ATAC specialist with Oxnard School District. And Tyler Hackathorn is the AT specialist with Lancaster School District. So welcome, everybody. Okay, so before we dive into today's session, let's just take a moment to see who's in here with us today. So in the chat, feel free to type your name, your location, or your role, or unmute yourself. And then once you're done with the introduction, I would love it if you guys could scan the QR code or click on the Mentimeter link. And then I want you to think about like, what's a word or phrase that's reflecting how you feel about AI right now? I'll give you guys a moment to go ahead and do that. So we have Eileen from Irvine. Oh, lots of wonderful, wonderful chats coming in. Ruth from Culver City, Andrea from Eureka, Carrie from Paso Robles, Diane from, I want to say West Contra Costa, Tristan, and great. Thank you, Lori, for putting the Mentimeter link on the chat as well. We have, is it Lisa from Humboldt, Denise, lots of wonderful participants today. Great. And for those that may be unable to access the chat or slide deck right now, I'll read some of the responses as they come up, and you have the option to review the recorded session later. Okay, so let's take a look at what we're seeing right now. I want to see what our collective feelings are right now. So let's see. Okay. So a word or phrase that reflects how we feel right now, we have nervous, excited, cautious, yep, definitely, inspired, connected, right? And if it, ooh, got a couple of more, exciting, intentional, that's a great one, contemplative. So we're going to go along with cautious, possibilities, keep them coming. Those are some great words. And as this word cloud continues to build, it kind of represent the collective feelings around AI in this room right now, and where we all like kind of see a little bit of range for everything. Some people are really excited, some are cautious, and we may be feeling all of those feelings as well. So keep adding to those, and I'll kind of try to screenshot and capture that for us to look at over later as well. Okay, great. Thank you so much for everybody for sharing. That was wonderful. So kind of our learning goals for today is going to be kind of fall into three categories. It's the hope that we'll get a little bit of understanding of how AI-powered AT can really expand accessibility and reduce barriers for our students. We're also going to explore three specific AI tools, Notebook LM, Glint, and Voiceitt, and how their features can really support learnings and participation. And if our participants are really well versed in any of these tools, we welcome you to kind of chime in, share your knowledge with us. We'd love to learn from you as well. And then lastly, kind of to identify practical ways to integrate AI-powered AT to foster student independence, engagement, and inclusion. Okay. Before we jump into kind of talking about the tools, let's do a little bit of foundational knowledge and think about artificial intelligence and assistive technology in education. We know that there's lots of different AI definition out there and different types, and it could be a whole session in itself. For today, we're just going to call AI and refer it to as a computer system that learns from data and adapt to provide human-like support. And then when we bring AI into the world of assistive technology, especially in education, the focus is really on how these tools can reduce barriers and increase access for our students. So think about a student who maybe is struggling with organizing information. An AI tool can really help summarize reading or create structured notes. And then perhaps for another student, AI can provide speech to text or translation, making content more accessible for them. And also importantly, AI can really expand opportunities for communication. So students with speech or language differences can participate more fully in class discussion. And so, AI-powered assistive technology really opens up some really exciting opportunities for learnings. But with new opportunities, we really have to think about the responsibility that comes with it. And some of the things that we want to consider when we're choosing to use AI in education includes students' privacy and security. How do we protect that? And we really have to think about how these AI systems are collecting and analyzing the data. We also want to be mindful about biases and fairness. We want to think about, let's say, if an AI tool doesn't recognize certain accent or speech patterns, it could unintentionally exclude some learners. We also always want to think and remember that AI is a support, not a replacement, and that teachers, specialists, and I want to include students remain central to kind of guiding the learning. And lastly, we want to make sure that these tools are accessible for all learners, meaning that they're easy to use and adaptable to kind of diverse learning needs. So I know that was a really quick, like general foundational knowledge, but I want to invite you, if you any of the things that we brought up during for AI or assistive technology like sparks more interest into you, we invite you to kind of check out an archive virtual event we had last December where the OA team really dove deeper into AI and AT. And it's a resource you may want to consider kind of exploring. And in that webinar, they dove into kind of a deeper definition of AI, assistive technology, as well as ed tech. They also went over some really great new guidance for AI in education from different group. And one of the groups were the U.S. Office of Ed Tech and their new National Education Tech Plan. And also there was a work group that was created from like big ed tech organization that came together and created 5 quality indicators for ed tech and AI products. There was also myths and facts put out by the U.S. Department of Education around assistive technology devices and service. And then some key findings from, of course, Consortium of School Networking and CAS about the potential for AI and accessibility. So a lot of new guidance have been put out. And then the webinar also kind of went over some common AI tool currently in trend. And they also did brief demo of certain AI tool like Clicker, Corgi, Diffit, and Magic School. So if any of those interest you, whether it's learning about the new guidance, diving deeper into definition, or just getting a little preview of all these tools, please check that webinar out. And the link is also in your home base document as well as the slide deck. Okay, so now let's get to the fun part. Now that we have a little bit of foundational knowledge, we're going to explore some of the AI tools that we mentioned earlier. And we're going to start with the first one, which is Notebook LM. And so I'm going to go over that one. And then Devon's going to talk a little bit about Glint after me. And then Tyler will finish us off. We're talking about Voiceitt. And we'll leave some time at the end to go over some questions and answer. All right. What is Notebook LM? So maybe in the chat, you can kind of put some response if you've heard of it, if you're curious about it, if you're like, what is this? What is this? We have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe drop some response in the chat to see kind of what the audience is feeling about this or have knowledge base in it. And I'll refer back to it as I keep going on with the slide deck. But essentially what Notebook LM is, it's an AI-powered tool designed to help with information management. Think of it as like a smart assistant for note-taking, summarization, and study support. Oh, I love it. So lots of like, I've never heard of it. Some have said yes. Thomas says, love Notebook LM. It's great when I'm learning a new concept. Yes. Lisa said, I used it to make a podcast from a research article. Great. You're touching on features I definitely want to explore with you guys. Yeah. And Thomas says, turns everything into a podcast. New to me. Good. We have some practitioners who are using it and some that are new. So it's a great group out there. So like, a lot of some of the people in the chat mentioned. So think of it as when you're asked to do a new task, oftentimes you have to learn all of this background information on it. And sometimes that can, I don't know about for you guys, but for me, that can be really overwhelming. And to kind of have a tool to help synthesize it and to make sense of it so I know what to do for a next step is super powerful. And that's essentially what Notebook LM is. I couldn't figure out how to then share the podcast to someone. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as well, Lisa. So that's what Notebook LM is. Next, I'm going to tell you about some of the key features. And this isn't an exhaustive feature, but just kind of it clumps into main highlight. And one of the things that Notebook LM is known for, it's for their multi-source analysis. Yeah, Denise said it's great for you reading complex topic and modeling how to break down big ideas for students. Right on. So when we talk about these multi-source analysis, what it does is that Notebook LM has this ability to upload and analyze multiple sources and documents simultaneously. And so that includes processing PDF, Google Docs, handwritten notes, website links, YouTubes, to name a few. And I did mention it, but it's a free tool. It's part of our Google Suite. And the free version allows you to have 50 sources per notebook. And then you can have up to 100 notebook for free. And if you choose to go for the paid version, it really expands that range. Instead of 50, you get 300 sources per notebook and up to 500 notebook as well. The next feature is it's AI generated and interactive content. And this is where you can create AI generate summaries, audio overviews, like it was mentioned in the chat, video overviews, and like mind maps. And it's pulling from all of the sources that you have kind of curated. So it's just not like randomly searching the web. It's these sources that you have selected that you want to synthesize. The other feature is I really personalize learning and assessment tools, and it does this by generating flashcards and quizzes directly from uploaded documents and offer kind of a learning guide for personalized tutoring for students and even for us. The other part is source-grounded conversational AI. Like I mentioned, it's not randomly searching for all the things out in the world of the World Wide Web. It's taking the information that you have selected and interacting with it that way. So it becomes like this dialogue partner, similar to how you use like ChatGPT or Copilot or any of the other chatbot out there. But we know that it's answering questions directly from your uploaded content. And the kind of last feature is the studio tool, right? This is where they really use AI to create some amazing content that we'll explore more when we demo it. But it allows users to create custom reports, briefing documents, study guides, timelines from their source material, in addition to kind of those podcasts that was mentioned before, as well as kind of some video on. For the people that have been using Notebook LM, I don't know if you noticed, but within like the last month, they added this new component of video. So we'll kind of take a look at that as well. Okay, so now we've talked about a bunch of the features, and I'm going to show you a little bit what we're talking about, okay? All right. So when you first kind of go into the link or just directly to Notebook LM, it'll take you to kind of this front page. And what you'll need to do is sign in with your Google account. I'm already signed in, so what will happen is when I click try Notebook LM, it'll take me directly to my what they call your dashboard. I also want to take a moment to show you these multi dots where all your Google apps are. If you pull it down and slide all the way down, Notebook LM looks like this icon right here. And so you can access it there as well, in addition to just typing the URL code. Okay, so back to our dashboard. So when you first sign in, this is what it'll look like. And you'll have options to create a new book. You can do it right here. It says create new notebook or create new. And so when you click it, what it'll immediately pop up is ask you to add your sources. And like I mentioned before, you can add from Google Doc and different files like PDF, .text, Markdown, audio file, things like that. You can also add links from website and YouTube, and then also plain text. And for the free version, you have 50 sources. That's pretty a robust number. So they're pretty generous with this free offering. I'm actually going to close this out because I already have a notebook created, and we're going to go explore that notebook. But this is what it would look like as you're beginning to upload sources. So today, I'm going to head back to this one. Today we're going to learn about cells, okay? So let's follow along. And so the way the dashboard is structured, I'm going to delete these ones, is that it looks like little notebooks on your screen. And I've created this notebook about learning about the fundamental theories of cell. And so when I open up, your dashboard will look like this. And it's going to be broken up into 3 panels: your source panel, your chat panel, and your studio panel. The source panel is where all of the sources you have decided that you want to learn about goes here. And you just kind of click add, you can add on it. And so for me, these are the 4 different types of sources I did. I did a YouTube video of biology, cell structure, and then I also did a PDF of a handwritten note on cell lesson, and then a PDF from like a book article, and then also a website of different definitions of cells, examples in practice. So I want to show you 2 things. So when you're in your source panel, if you click on the sources, so I'm going to go to the handwritten note, it will generate like a really brief summary of what that note is about. And then if you click on this pop-out button, it'll show you what the note was. So this was just a handwritten PDF note on cell that I uploaded. There's a little caveat I want to about uploading handwritten note. Notebook LM uses OCR, optical character recognition, to pull the text from these PDFs file. So depending on the quality of your image or PDF and your handwritten note, there is going to be some variability, right? If it's clear enough, are the handwritten consistent, things like that. So that's something to keep in mind when you're using handwritten notes. It won't grab a JPEG. It won't allow you to do a JPEG or PNG, but it will let you do a PDF copy of it. So keep that in mind if that is an option we're having students use, that there is going to be some variability in it. So that's what the note looked like. Okay, and so let's go back to the dashboard, okay? And then so the other thing I also uploaded as my source is if you click on this property of cell, this was actually a website. It gave me a little summary of what it is. But look at this website. I'm going to pop it open. So this was just the URL link I put in as my source. And look at how robust it is. It has video lesson, practice, and worksheet. A lot of great content, but a lot of content, right? And it was still able to process all of that. So that was one of my sources. Okay. So I'm going to close this out, make it a little nice and neat. So we've talked a little bit about the sources. So you put them all in this panel. And the next thing I want to talk about is the chat panel. And this chat panel has taken all of the sources you have put in and created like a little summary of what are we talking about? What are the information we're trying to synthesize? And now you can interact with those sources like you would a chat GPT, a Copilot, or if you guys are familiar with chatbot Ludia, it functions very similar. I had some prompts already put in. We'll see if it can come up. Okay, so I kind of said after they created like a summary, I said, hey, can you create a list style format of some key ideas about cells? And it did. It kind of gave me a long, big list. And if you notice how there are like these numbers at the end of each statement, these numbers are linked to your direct sources. So that's kind of a neat thing. You can see where exactly they're pulling that information from. It kind of really grounds you like, okay, it's not just willy-nilly telling me whatever. It's grounded in the sources that you've provided. And so let's say I'm looking through this, I'm a student, I'm going, oh my goodness, that's still a lot of text. You can continually interact with it. And the more you interact with your chatbot, right, and the more specific you are, it will give you kind of what you need. So I kind of said, hey, let's create a paragraph summary of metabolism, sorry, at a fourth grade reading level. And it kind of synthesized a quick little summary for me. So maybe that's just all I want to read right now. And then lots of different questions, different prompts I put. Discuss what these sources say about cell categories. So lots of different ways that you can interact with it. Very similar to how you do with a chatbot. Moving on, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the studio panel. Remember, this is the 1 of 3 panel. And this is where this is the really neat part about Notebook LM. So you kind of heard in the chat, and we've mentioned it briefly, its ability to turn things into a podcast. And it's basically, this is what it does. It generates a podcast based on all the resources that you've put in. When you do that, depending on the number of sources, it can take a while. I think with the 4 resources, it took about 5 to 10 minutes for it to generate. So I'm not going to make you wait 5 to 10 minutes. I already pre-generated it, but I want you to take a listen to kind of what it sounds like.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting down to basics. We're taking a mission, you could say, into the fundamental unit of life itself, the cell.
That's right.
We've got some great sources lined up that honestly give us a fantastic shortcut to understanding just how intricate these tiny things are, their structure, their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a really solid, quick, but detailed picture of what makes life, well, live at the smallest scale.
So I hope you got a sampling of that and everybody heard it okay. But it was so amazing for me. It really felt like it was 2 different people having a conversation about cell biology. And they made it very like relatable, and they had these natural like language ums and stops. It was just really kind of pleasant to listen to. And it's another way for a student to kind of access information if maybe reading is too much. The other feature that I want to talk to you about, the audio overview, is they also have a AI portion where you can kind of interrupt the co-host and type in your question. And you can kind of just say, let's say if you want to say, oh, can you clarify about what the cell structure looks like? They will change it in real time. And I thought that was one of the really cool features about it. Kind of moving on, this video overview, like I mentioned, it's a new thing, and it's probably been created last month, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. And again, it takes a bit for it to generate like 5 or 10 minutes, at least on 4 sources. So this one I'm going to show you and press play. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Play.
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to shrink ourselves way, way down to take a tour of the most basic, fundamental unit of life there is. We are going inside the absolutely bustling, incredibly complex city that is a living cell. And you know, that's not just some poetic idea. It's a foundational rule of biology. Everything, and I mean everything that we consider to be alive, is built from these microscopic structures. They are quite literally the blueprint of all life. So here's a quick look at our tour map for today. We're going to start with the basic laws that govern this.
And it's really neat. It even provides like a learning path for us before they structured like the slide deck. That was really amazing.
Little city, then we'll check out its two main
Okay.
architectural.
Pause that real quick, guys.
All right, let's get right.
All right, so we've talked about the audio and the video. Next, I'm going to show you what the mind map does. And remember, when you click on it, it'll generate, but I've already pre-generate these options to save a little bit of time. But when you go down for the mind map part, right, look at what it does. You have this main idea about biology of structure and property. So maybe for a kiddo who is a visualizer and we want to take a look at information this way, how neat would that be for it to help it break it down in structure? And whenever you see like the arrow, that's where you can interact with it more and you can click it. And I'm going to show you what happens when I do that. It expands what are the different cell categories. And then when I click it, look what happened. It kicked me back to the chat bot. And so now you can interact with it for that specific topic. And you can say, oh, explain a little bit more, give me some examples. So it interacts back and forth between the chat panel and the studio panel. So that's the mind map. The report guy, I'll press it down. When you create a report, these are the set format usually. It says you can create your own, a briefing document, study guide, or blog post based on the source material you gave it. But this is the part that will look different each and every time depending on the source materials that you gave it and the topic. Like for this one, they're asking me, do you want to do a research summary or an educational hangout or a concept explainer? So lots of different options to create different types of reports. And so let's say maybe we're getting a little bit more comfortable with all of these content, right? And now we want to create like some flashcards. So what they did for this one is you generate the flashcard. I'll show you real quick. It'll kind of do like a digital flashcard for you. So what's the smallest living unit of organism? And you can click the answers for it. And then what's the really neat part? It goes and explains it, right? When you click on it, it goes back to the chat bot and gives you like more information depending on like if you want more or less. And so lots of different options, kind of makes the questions, synthesizes all of the information, just kind of tests your understanding of it or review, I should say, your understanding of it, right? Cytoplasm. Now, if you're feeling super confident in learning about cell biology and you're ready to go, you can maybe test your knowledge. And we made a quiz about it, and this is what the quiz looked like. And so one of the things I really like about this is, look, it asks you a question and gives you an option, but it also has a little hint. Look at the natural scaffolding that it's built in. So maybe a kiddo that's like, oh, I don't know. So they're going to look through that. And then when you click on a thing, okay, I'm going to get that one right. But if it doesn't, it also gives you like a response of not quite right. Okay. That was super fun. And we're going to end with that was some of the main features. I'm going to wrap up because I feel like I'm taking all the time already. Enter full screen. All right. So when we think of like, okay, how can this really help with accessibility? Some of the big thing is when I'm looking at this tool, I keep thinking of like a kiddo who has maybe executive functioning issue and organizing information can be super hard for them, prioritizing tasks. You know, by having this tool, it helps pull all the notes together and the readings all in one space, and then they can kind of go back and forth and interact it with them the way that they want it, which in turns kind of lower that cognitive load and it hopefully improve focus. And so one of the biggest strengths of how a Notebook LM is helping the student process information, right? To summarize large amount of data so that students can spend more time learning the information instead of trying to process the information. So that frees up mental energy for deeper learning. And this shift really promotes active learning. Students can revisit ideas, test their comprehensions, all leading to kind of stronger, longer recall and mastery. And as you saw, it provides lots of different ways to process information. We have auditory, visually, lots of different ways. And this flexibility really supports different learning profiles and helps students move from feeling hopefully overwhelmed to more empowered and helps them scaffold their organization and independence skills that they may need. And on the back end, it also can help educators identify different learning trends and support individual goals. And we can do this by maybe uploading student work, keeping in mind privacy as well, and aggregate these responses and look for reflection to see trends and progress over time. And this insight can really help tailor instructions, highlight area of growth, and also kind of support IEP and personalized learning goals. The last thing I want to talk about is this Notebook LM link that I have listed is kind of one put out by Notebook LM, and it's a great resource to kind of teaches you how to open the notebook, add resources, interact with it. And there's also a part that goes, how can Notebook LM help me? And that little section is really great because it gives you different ideas of how to use Notebook LM. Okay. Awesome. I do see Lisa's idea. I'm gonna scroll back to that in a bit, but I'm gonna turn it over to Devin right now, and she's gonna tell us a little bit about Glint. I'm gonna stop sharing, okay, Devin?
Okay. That reminds me, I probably need to open the slide deck. Obviously, I was having technical issues, and so my brain was all over the place. Okay, let me share this. We're at Glint. Okay, is it working? It says it's sharing. Oh, there it goes. But it was totally black, and I was like, oh no.
Hmm.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Devin. I am the ATAC specialist at Oxford School District in Ventura County. I do not work for Glint. I'm just obsessed with it and figure I would show you a little bit about it. So, it's being real slow. There we go. So, Glint is another AI program. It is created by NerdChat. It is a communication support platform designed to enhance interaction and engagement. It's obviously it's going to be especially for our students with those communication differences or our clients, but it's really for everyone and absolutely can help across educational services at home. It's just very cool. What makes it special is that it adapts in real time. It can provide conversational support, visuals, text prompts. It helps users express themselves and stay actively engaged. It's essentially a bridge between like communication needs and social participation, and it's just so cool, you guys. So before I get going though, I wanted to share just kind of a quick short story about how Glint came to be because it's just so sweet. So the creators met when they were studying in the university in Nashville, and they became close friends through the Best Buddies program. One of them was non-speaking and had a communication device that was actually very verbose. And when they were together, they were able to really have those conversations and really get deep and really spend time together and connect. But when, classes would end and they would go home, with the long distance communication was very limited, especially since the vocabulary support just wasn't there in the AACs at the time. Because of that, every time they got together, they just got more and more interested in just the whole AAC world as a whole. And then they explored into it a little bit further. And after meeting more people, more users, more therapists, they learned that just one of the most biggest frustrations was just how like time consuming and cumbersome it can be to create boards and visuals, finding the pictures, putting them in order, all that stuff. It can take a really long time. So they were inspired and they created Glint, which now can do all of that work in a matter of seconds. It's wild. So what can it do? It is first and foremost a rapid content creator. It uses AI, obviously. You can instantly create visual supports using symbol sticks, so you'll recognize those from TouchChat, Proloquo, those ones, news to you, I believe. It also can generate its own AI-based images, although it's in beta, so it's not quite there yet, but it's getting pretty good. And then it also pulls from Google. So if you want to use those concrete, realistic visuals, you can also have those in there. You can also then upload your own ones too. So if you want to make it client specific or student specific, you can make it really, really specific. And then once it's generalized, it's easy to customize. You can move it around. You can make it specific to that student or to the setting. It also is, it uses diverse visual support formats. You can make visual schedules, social stories, behavior charts, reward systems, communication boards, you name it. They've got most of them on there, and they're very good about if you just want to send them a support ticket, they like to make new templates pretty regularly. Including they've started to make some of like the Go Talk mid-tech templates, which is pretty cool. It also supports voice output, so it's really interactive and totally accessible. Let's see what else. It has multilingual support. Right now it's at 15 different languages, and they're continuing to grow. It also supports across devices. Since it's internet browser based, it doesn't matter what as long as you have the internet, you can get to the boards and the visuals. Similarly, it has a share function, which I will show you guys in a little bit, which is it uses links and QR codes that makes it really easy to collaborate with your teachers, with your therapists, and with your families. It also is pretty good at seamlessly integrating with Google Classroom and Canvas. And it has right now a pretty good their resource library. It's built by the users, and it's very cool. It's across, again, across settings. They've got all kinds of stuff in there. Okay, so I am going to show you a little bit how to use it. So, assuming that you can see it, this is the home page when you sign in. That's why it'll sign in, so it's my home page right now. And it comes right to this page. And from right here, you can already create something. It defaults to the simple grids. You can change the size of the grid you want it to do. You can change what languages you want it to be in. And the word complexity is elementary, intermediate, and advanced. I'm not going to do a grid because they're very simple, but I want to show you some of the other templates. Like I said, they've got quite a few, including those schedules and WH questions. If you're doing your articulation, there's minimal pairs and sentence strips. Got a little bit of everything. I'm gonna do a social story. So because it kind of shows all of the features pretty well. So now we're gonna work on a social story. You can easily change how many steps. So if it's one you want to be fairly straightforward, or if you want to break it down into more steps, you can. I'm going to leave it as English for now, and I'm going to leave it as intermediate. So let's not bite our friends. That's a pretty common one in my area right now. We got some biters. So the AI will think for a second, and it automatically pops up the story. So it is interactive, so you can hear what it reads. Like I said, it has the 6 things. The nice thing about the story is you can also make it a book. So you can click and then go between the pages that way. But let's talk about the cool stuff, you guys. First and foremost, I have a social story that took literally 10 seconds. So easy, so awesome. But now we can also get into the nitty gritty of it. We can edit it. So if we go up here to edit, you know you're in edit mode when it's green. I just realized my mouse is bright pink. You're welcome. So if you want to edit it, it's very simple. First and foremost, if you want to change an image, you just click on the box and it brings up other options for it. And then if you click it, and now my internet's like, no, there we go. Automatically changed. No problem. Very easy. It can hide the images if you don't want images. You can translate from here, so you can now go put it into another language. And what it'll do when it's in another language, wow, my computer just going so fast. It'll think for a second, and then now it has both the English and the Spanish. So I know this is really little, but up in this corner, there is a little world and a little double arrow. Right now, because both are blue, it'll speak both languages. So you can do it in both, or if you turn this off, it'll only do it in Spanish. And if you turn this off, it'll only do it in English. So you have options to support your clients however you want to. Other things that are pretty cool about just Glint in general, all of the boards can be edited with these things. So you can make it bold or light if you need to. It does have a few different fonts, including Open Dyslexic, which, yes, the research says it's not for everybody, but those students that it does help, it's very nice for. So you can put it into there. You can change the voice. You can change how fast they speak. It's just so cool. So now it's going to be Amy. I'm going to close it and I'm going to let Amy talk in English. There's lots of voices. Okay, so then it's AI. It's already done the AI thing, but let's say we wanted to change something up. Let's say we're doing this with a student who is working on, let's say, the SH sound. So words that start with SH. Now it's going to think again. So now, as often as it could, it put in SH words. We've got friends share when we feel upset or shy. Again, share. It likes to try to do its best for you. And obviously not every context is gonna build the SH word. That was just the first one I thought of, but it's very cool and it'll change things that way. Now, I'll be honest, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. Another button up here is the share button. So if I click on share, there's a few things you can do. You can print it as a worksheet. So if you do that, it will put the name at the top if you want it to. Very cool. You can share it through the code, which I will put in the thing, or you can share it as a QR. So if you want, try to read the QR code right now, and I'll put the link in the chat as well. And you should have interactive access to the story that I created, which is so cool for sharing with our parents, sharing with the students themselves, sharing with other therapists, making situations you can have that same social story can be in all of our settings and they can be practicing it constantly, which is just so cool. Yeah, don't even have to have an account. You can just have to push it out. Isn't that just the most amazing thing? So that's a very quick demo. Honestly, that's pretty much it. It can do a lot. There is, like I said, the library that has been created by other members. If your organization has a subscription, then you can actually share specifically within your organization, which is also pretty cool. But there are public ones, and people have made just so much of everything, and it's so cool. I will go back to this real quick so I can finish up because I'm also talking. I'm sorry. Let me see. Perfect. Okay, so that was the demo. I skipped a slide. There we go. So pretty much, why it doesn't matter. Why do we care? I mean, other than it's just so cool, you guys. Glint truly supports inclusive classrooms by expanding participation in group work and class discussions in real time right there. It can help bridge those communication gaps, allowing students to engage and not just with the curriculum, but with their peers and build those relationships. And that's amazing. Being able to do so obviously will increase their confidence, giving students alternative ways to express themselves, contribute ideas, take part just in general in the learning. Because I know this is going to be a question, and again, I don't work for Glint, but I'm going to talk about pricing real quick. The free subscription allows 10 free boards per month, which is pretty cool in itself, and it's really good just for like that trial use. The Pro subscription is, I believe, $18 a month and about $150 a year, which unlocks all the features, of course, and helps really with that data AI that kind of helps edit it as it goes. They do randomly go on sale. It was on sale last week for AAC Awareness Month, which is pretty cool. And it was like another $4 off or something a month. But that's pretty much me. That's Glint. It's pretty cool. I hope everyone loves it. And I will pass it to Tyler, who's going to talk to us about Voiceitt. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go.
Thanks so much, Devin. I'm going to go ahead and talk with you guys quickly about Voiceitt. I'll try and get this going as quickly as possible. So this is a speech recognition tool that's specifically designed for individuals that have non-standard speech. So these might be students that have motor or other developmental differences. And really the goal is trying to provide that communication accessibility in another way. So we can go ahead and advance to the next slide. So what this application does is it learns the producer's individual speech patterns. It converts the speech to standard text or voice in real time. And then it integrates with other devices. So you can use this with different phones, computers, all kinds of different platforms, and have them utilize this in real time. And it integrates with all of those things. And then overall, what this does is it supports their speech and also supports multilingual speech as well. So this is a really, really robust tool that covers a lot of different things. I'm going to show a little video that highlights what this application does, and you can kind of see how it works.
My son's heroes skid across ice as he cheers from his wheelchair.
He'll talk your ears off about his champions that take over the rink. He wants you to get all the details, but he isn't always understood. His excitement is clear, but his speech is not. But with Voiceitt, his words come alive. And in that moment, his physical limitations come second to his love for the game. When he explores the world with technologies that don't see limitations, but possibilities.
Play We Are the Champions by Queen.
He's not an 8-year-old who's unlikely to skate under the bright lights of Madison Square Garden. He's the one I know. The one who's sometimes nervous or apprehensive,
while also curious about the world with so much to say and share.
And although his voice sounds different than others, it is his own.
Hi, Esri.
Hi.
What'd you do today?
I listened on
Did you score any goals?
He's not the Rangers fan with cerebral palsy. He's a kid drawn to the art and energy of the game. Cheering on his favorite team with his dad.
Hey! 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 Hey!
And one day, he'll know.
This is the stuff champions are made of.
All right. So I liked a few things about that video. One, it's just a beautiful video to see someone successfully communicating that has non-standard speech, but also seeing how he utilizes it in different capacities throughout his day using different platforms is just really, really cool. So obviously this type of a program will help increase independence in daily communication. It enables participation in classroom discussions and empowers students socially and academically. I just wanted to touch a little bit on some more things about this program. So this type of a program was one that I did trial for a student that was a fifth grader. I feel that this is particularly beneficial for those of you that are working with students where maybe you've tried to utilize other platforms or other communication apps, and you just are hitting a wall. You're finding that the student is not willing to access that type of a platform. In particular, for me, this student was a fifth grade student in a gen ed classroom with resource support. He was aware that he was the only student that had non-standard speech, and he would be the only student in the classroom using a device. So for him, with that perception, he was not willing to access a device. This was a great tool to explore with him to see if we could access this and if he could benefit from utilizing this. In order for you to consider this for students in your own programs, there are a few things that you want to keep in mind. The speech error patterns need to be consistent or rule-based for the program to learn. It's going to be listening to these different, to their speech patterns. They're going to be listening and or reading specific scripted phrases and reciting them back. It usually takes about 200 to 500 phrases for the program to learn the speech patterns. So keep that in mind as far as front loading it with this type of a program. There's going to be a lot work for that student to listen to those phrases. They need to recite them back exactly. And you need at least 200 to 500 phrases for them to start learning it. And then as you continue to record more or bank more, it trains it to learn better how to understand the speech. So there's also other little cool tools you can utilize with it, like shortcuts. So you could have them say a shorter phrase, and it'll know to say a longer phrase in place of that. So there's some cool little features that are embedded. However, this is a tool that does require an internet connection. So I wanted to mention that if you have issues with accessibility in terms of internet accessibility. And obviously you want to keep in mind the environments that it's going to be used in, because noisier environments, it's going to be harder to pick up just that student's voice versus other environmental sounds or other voices in the room. Again, as Devin mentioned, I don't have any financial association with this application, but this is just providing some information about it. They do offer a 30-day trial period, so you can try it and see if it's beneficial for students. After that 30-day trial period, it's $49.99 a month or $499.99 annually. We'll just call it $500 if to pay for it annually. So if you have you're thinking about it for students that are aged 16 and under, there is also a parental consent form that they need to sign in order for them to use the program. And that is it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I want to hear from you guys right now. Do you guys have any questions about what we covered today, or maybe share your own experience with any of the tools? It sounds like some of the tools are familiar to you guys. Feel free to unmute, drop your question in the chat, or add it to the home-based document. So while you guys are kind of thinking of your questions, just keep it in the chat and we'll kind of, oh, Ruth has, do you if Voiceitt provides bundles for districts, or is there each license purchase individually?
I didn't see anything about that. That's a nice question, though. I did reach out to them to try and get some more information. I'm waiting to hear back. So maybe when I hear back, I can get that information and relay that. That's a good question. Like bundling larger amounts of them. So
You kind of add that question to the home-based document too. So when we get a response, we can put that down. So Andrea said, for me in general, trying new tools and functionality with the basic funding can be a challenge. Definitely, that's always kind of a barrier we we see in the LEAs and districts that we work with.
I feel you, especially this year.
Keep those questions coming, okay? I'm going to move on to our intentional close. Oh, wait, one more. Oh, let's see. So Lisa said, I made these sample boards as visual communication accommodation for student staff to use during emergency drill incidents using the standard response protocol instruction. Second page included. Oh, thank you for that resource. Oh, Lisa, these are great. I'll add these to the home-based document as a resource. That's wonderful. Thank you, Lisa. Okay. So kind of when you're thinking for our intentional close today, we're going to think about what tool stood out most for you today and which one could make the biggest difference for the student you support and kind of why. I'm going to launch a quick poll just for fun to see what you guys think. And then maybe shout out or share, unmute or chat. What are the tools that stood out for you? Are you guys able to see the poll? Oh, right. Oh, lots of movement. I love. Thank you everybody for participating and adding in that. So kind of notebook LM, Glint, voice and back and forth. Yeah, Glint was very powerful. Oh, Andrew, you don't see it? So Andrew, kind of it was just asking which one. So it looks like we have about 30%, 7 people kind of felt notebook was something that spoke with them, 8 people for Glint, and 8 for Voiceitt. Does anybody want to share for the ones that were able to participate with the poll, kind of what features or what tools stood out for you, and how do you imagine this could help the students you support?
I really like the Voiceitt. It's different, and I'm just excited to share it as a resource for folks that I work with. So yeah, it's really cool. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, Thomas. And Andrea said Notebook LM to create audio support for students. Definitely. Ruth said Glint, perfect for students who need visuals. Yep.
Somebody asked me today how to use AI to help a student write, write more. So I only had really used Notebook LM for that podcast thing. So I'm going to look at the features to see if I could figure out how to finagle that, to see if we
Yeah.
can create some sort of, graphic organizer if you put all the sources in and
Yeah, definitely
that
interact with the
like a
chat box.
first step for then somebody to use for writing. So I'll see if I can figure that out with it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. We're going to wrap up with a little bit of back in the housekeeping. If you guys wouldn't mind, please take a moment to fill up our end of training survey. You can scan the QR code or the tiny URL. It really helps provide feedback for us of how to kind of cater the inclusive learning circle and any of your virtual event to kind of meet the needs that's out there. So please take a moment to do that. And then while you're doing that, also think about if this inclusive learning circle was informative or beneficial for you. We have some other ones that are upcoming. Our next one is on November 19th on the topic of UDL Principle of Engagement. So please share that with anybody who may be interested, and we hope to see you guys there. And thank you, Leah, for dropping the link in the chat as well. Appreciate it. And we're also on social media, so please feel free to follow us. And then lastly, just thank you so much, everybody, for participating. And big thanks to Tyler and Devin for kind of taking their time out of their busy schedule to be some wonderful presenters. Great. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and put the link for the survey back up again so you guys can go ahead and interact it. Oh, great, great. Thank you, guys.